Hey there YouTube, welcome back to Black Powder Update. I actually have a couple of videos for you this week. I originally started the week thinking that I was going to take an easy week and just do the artillery battery that's attached to the 1st Brigade. And I thought, you know, I'll take it easy, maybe paint for like 3 or 4 days of the week and just take a sort of a break. However, I ended up finishing these guys a lot quicker than I thought I would. So I actually, with those sort of extra days, I decided to also do the Brigade Commander for these chaps. So look out for a second video with him in. I decided to add him into his own video because I actually ended up having to sort of do some conversions on him, so I thought he deserved his own video to fully get all the detail in on him. So as you can see, I completed this artillery battery. Like I say, I finished it a lot earlier than I thought I would. It's made up of 2 front rank guns and a mixture of elite and front rank crews. I'll go into more detail as we sort of take a closer look at the guns. Now, sort of history-wise, the Dutch used French guns. They never actually used any British guns. Apparently, they didn't use British guns until 1819. So all of the Dutch artillery will be French. Uniforms wise, the Dutch and Belgian horse artillery and also the foot artillery both use the same style of uniform, so there's no actual difference in looks between the two nations. These guys, like I say, are actually Dutch, the Dutch horse artillery. I believe there is a Belgian horse artillery in the 3rd Division, and also there are 2 batteries of foot artillery, 1 Belgian and 1 Dutch, I believe. Also between the 2, I think the next brigade of this division actually has a Belgian foot artillery battery attached to it. So let's go in and take a closer look at them. So let's start off with the non-commander gun. So here we go. As you can see, I've clayed the base to sort of give it some texture. I think that's a really sort of simple addition that I actually quite like doing on artillery. I mean, it does kind of take the best part of a day to dry, although because this is not too thick, it took, I think I left it sort of like 4 or 5 hours and it was more or less dry. And then obviously I paint some cheap brown paint, this paint here in fact, which I believe I got it from the works. Crawford and black acrylic, £2. I think it's gone up to £3 now actually, this, but still it's a very nice paint to use for buildings and stuff that you don't want to use proper model paint for. So I give it a coat of brown, and then I give it my sort of normal flock base, and then when that's dry I add some tufts and stuff. So the basing process does take a good couple of days in its own right, but like I say, I actually finished all the painting in about 4 days total, and that included the varnishing. The guns actually completed really quickly. I think I did both guns within probably within an hour, if you don't include drying time. And I was very happy with how they turned out. I do quite like front rank guns. I think the only sort of problem with them is that sometimes, because you have to add a pole to be the axle, sometimes you have difficulty actually getting the wheels to fit on flush. And obviously you have to be very careful when you cut your pole, because it's quite easy to make a mistake and cut it too short, and then you don't actually have a proper attachment for both wheels. You've got to make sure there's enough space either side. But other than that, I think they're really nice looking guns. They're very comparable to Perry's, so it's quite easy to sort of mix a Perry's gun with a front rank gun. Like I say, crew wise, these guys are mostly the front rank crew. Very nice figures. Obviously loading sort of stance. So we have the match guy. I did actually lower his arm a little bit because the match guy was kind of more in the position of the gun being ready to fire, but the rest of the crew were kind of in the position of loading the gun. So I had to kind of modify him a little bit just to make him look like he's you know, off to the side waiting rather than actually lighting the gun. The fuse guy here is an elite miniature actually. He's the guy who sets the match to actually fire the gun, and obviously this chap is carrying the load. And this guy here, he's a bit of an odd figure actually. I mean, he kind of looks like he's a sort of an NCO type guy, but he's strangely holding this coil of rope, and there's no real point to it. I don't really understand his position, but like I say, he kind of looks like a sort of an NCO type guy, so that's what I used him as. And I think it makes a really nice crew. The elite guy fits in well. He is obviously a little bit thinner, and he obviously has a slightly smaller plume compared to the front rank, but again, I don't think it makes any difference. I think he looks quite nice mixed in with him. So that's the first gun. Very happy with how it turned out. Second gun, this is the command gun. I always have one officer per 2 guns, which equals 1 battery. Again, we have a built-up base using Daz clay. Now, this particular base is a little bit thicker than my first one. This one took a little bit longer to dry, maybe another sort of 2 or 3 hours. And I actually, when I put the clay down, I kind of stuck the models onto the clay as a sort of an indention, so that I knew where to place them, and it gave like a nice piece of flat ground so that I could super glue them in, and it worked quite well. The only thing I'm a little bit iffy about is whether the clay retains its strength to basically, you know, when you stick a gun to the MDF base, it's a lot sturdier. But I've never actually stuck a gun to straight up Daz clay, so I don't know the strength of how well that gun's going to adhere to the clay before the clay gives out, sort of thing. But you'd imagine once it's dry, it would give you a pretty decent base. So hopefully, you know, lifting the gun out, lifting the actual model out of the box via the cannon, would actually be stuck down enough to actually withhold the weight. Yeah, again, I think it looks really nice with this the slightly different terrain. The officer here, we can see that he's again, obviously all the crew on this one are elite. Quite a nice officer figure. Again, you do have the sort of the slightly funky face, and I suppose you could say that their swords are a little bit on the thin side in comparison to front rank, but they still look very nice. The officer figure has the slightly different uniform. These guys have brass scabbards, obviously brass gold lacing on their shakos. They obviously have the orange cockade, and they obviously have their orange waistband, but they also have a black, I've forgotten the name of it now, but this white strapping with the little cartridge box on the back that cavalry units wear. The officer's version is black leather. So that is the second gun, and as you can see on both guns actually I added mud to the wheels to make it look as if they've you know, the ground's not quite fully dry, but maybe a little bit sort of muddy, but obviously not enough to make it a quagmire, but you do get sort of mud sticking to the wheel. I think it came out looking pretty good actually in the end. So that is the Dutch Horse Artillery battery, commanded by Captain Beleveld, and yeah, hope you enjoyed it. So catch you in the next one, which will hopefully be pretty much up as soon as this one is. So until then, I'll catch you all in the next one. Quick zoom in. Bye bye.